Okay, so it's the end of the year, and I'm super sad that I don't get to do this in class. So, something that I do every year in class is I take a class period to talk about all the things I wish I could have taught you during your sixth grade year, but it's not in the curriculum. So, it's not social studies. But I feel like this advice is far more important than anything you learned in social studies or could learn in social studies. So I always like to take the time at the end of the year to go over these things. And they're very important to me. I've given them a lot of thought. And if you follow these things, then you can be a very successful person, which I very much want for you. Um, I care about all of you very, very much. And I want you to have the best life that you can. And even though you're leaving sixth grade and you're leaving me, I know I'll see you in the hallways and I know you'll keep in touch. But as you get older, I want you to look at this list of advice every single year. And I always tell the kids, well, where do you keep something important, something that you don't want to lose? Because I moved around my whole life, and you always move from house to house or apartment to house, and you move to different places in the country and maybe in the state, maybe even in the city. But something you always have in all of your houses, no matter where you live, and no matter how big your house gets, is an underwear drawer. So, this is my best advice to keep in your underwear drawer. So, I'm going to attach a copy of it on Google Classroom, and I'm hoping you can print it out and keep it in your underwear drawer. And every year when you're going to go back to school, so at the beginning of seventh grade, the night before seventh grade, I want you to take it out and read it. And I want you to do that the day before eighth grade and ninth grade and 10th grade and 11th grade and 12th grade and college. Because if you remind yourself every year about making good choices, then you will just always remember to do that. So, the first piece of advice to keep in your underwear drawer is to always stay in school. Never stop learning. Education is power, and to invest in your future self. We talked about this a lot in social studies, that education is power, and it is. And I know that school gets frustrating, and I know that sometimes school is hard for kids, and some years are harder than others, depending on what's going on in your life or how hard the work gets, but it's all worth it. You're putting an investment in the future you. And so you might be struggling now to do the work, and you might be working hard now, but it's going to pay off later. And the future you is going to look back and say, I wish I had done more. I wish I had learned more in my 12 years of public education. And you can't get it back. So every year, please try to do your best. Try to, in seventh grade, don't just settle for whatever is going to get by, but please just try to get your best seventh grade year and your best eighth grade year and your best high school. Um, and stay in school. Don't drop out, and don't try to do it a different way and then later on regret it. Stay in school and graduate. The next piece of advice to keep in your underwear drawer is to work hard. Don't just try to get it done, try to get it done right. Go the extra mile. In life, it's very easy to be lazy. It's very easy to get distracted and to do other things um, with your time, but it's important that you work hard. And that means that you work hard in school. It means you work hard as a part of your family. You work hard in a relationship. You work hard in your job, and you work hard in your community to give back. And when people work hard, that pays off as well. And it makes you have a better reputation. It makes you have a better life. And don't just try to get by. Don't do the minimum just because it's acceptable, right? Don't just try to settle for, a D or a C in school when you could get a B or you could get an A. And some subjects are harder than others. And math for me was never going to be an A. And I could have tried and tried and tried and tried and just never gotten there. And that's what it's like for us. We're all good at different things, and we're all bad at different things. But as long as you're always working hard and trying your best, you can be proud of yourself. Don't just give a little bit. Make yourself proud. Do the best work you can. The next piece of advice is to keep a good attitude, because life is short. Enjoy the time that you have. We're always worried about getting the next thing, right? How many times have you wanted something for Christmas and you've wanted it so badly and you get it for Christmas? And then what's the next thing you do? We all do it. We think about what the next thing we want is, right? So when we're in first grade, we can't wait to get to second grade, right? When we are in elementary school, oh, I can't wait to get to middle school. Or when you're in middle school, you can't wait to get to high school. Or then you want to go to college, or then you want to get married, or buy a house, or have children, or get a dog. Everything that we worry about is the thing that's happening next. But we need to start worrying about the now and enjoying life for the now. So just remember that when you're thinking about the next thing, look around you and take it all in and enjoy that time. The next one is to never give up. This one's a really serious one because we all have hard times, and sometimes we don't know who to turn to for help, and sometimes we think we're alone, and sometimes we don't think there's a way out of our trouble, and that things are so bad that we just can't see another way out. And sometimes in life people give up and they think they can't do it anymore. And I want you to always remember that even if you are in a very low place or you're in a very sad place and you just think there's nothing else you can do, there always is someone out there that can help you. And even if that is to go back to your elementary school and find your second grade teacher, or to go to someone that's at your church, or some relative, or your parents, or friends, or to go to the fire station and tell someone there if you're not okay and you're thinking about doing something irrational because you don't think there's another way out. Please don't do that. I want you all to have the best lives ever, but I also know that there are times in our lives that put us through immense pain and very challenging things. But even though when something seems like it's impossible to overcome, you find the right people that can help you, and eventually you will overcome it. I promise you, you will. I speak personally from this. You will work it through, and it will be a better day, in days and weeks and months, maybe years. But find someone to help you. Do not give up. Do not try to do things on your own and feel like you are alone, because you're never alone. Be yourself. This one's really important to me because, you're of that age now where you have to fit in and wear the right clothes and watch the right things on TV, and, be popular and be part of the in group or be part of this group. And there's so many years that you spend in school, in middle school and high school, and you feel like you are trying to impress everyone else, and you have to be like everyone else and wear what they wear and say what they say. And you know what? You don't. You can be yourself because you have a place in this world, and you are designed in a way that's who you're supposed to be. And you don't have to change yourself for anyone else. You don't have to be something that you're not. You can be you. It's hard in middle school and it's hard in high school. I remember going to college and thinking, wow, things are totally different in college. I can hang out with my people. There's other people that like what I like, and they act like I like, and they like the same things as I like. And you find new friends and you find new experiences. I remember that middle school and high school was so hard because you always felt like you couldn't be who you were meant to be because you had to impress everyone else. And that's not the case at all. It took me a long time to be myself. And it really wasn't until I was in college or until I was an adult that I realized I can dress up in stupid things. And if people think I'm silly, or if people don't like it because I'm wearing some crazy costume, who cares? Because that's not the kind of friend I want to have. If someone's not going to accept me for who I am and being slightly odd or awkward or silly, then those aren't the kind of people I want to be friends with. And I surround myself with my tribe. Those are my people. Those are people that would act like me and do things like I would. So you will find your best friends are going to like you for who you are. Don't just try to fit in because everyone's trying to fit in. And don't let people change you for the worse. Don't let them make you bad decisions like peer pressure, and make you do stupid things that you know is wrong and that you don't want to do, but to fit in, you feel pressured to do it. Don't change Don't let people change you for the worst. Um, when you have children and not for a very long time, I want you to give them a wonderful life. Because when you make a commitment to having children, you're making a commitment to trying to raise them the best that you can. And, the life that you give them will affect them so much in their whole lives. And it's also okay not to have kids. I don't have kids, and it's something that I was upsetting for me at first, but now I'm actually kind of glad that I don't have kids, because I have a job, I have a career where I have so many kids that I can influence and that I can try to be a part of their life. And I you don't need to do what other people choose to do. Not everyone chooses to have kids, and that's okay. But when you do have kids, try to give them the best life that you can. Wear sunscreen because of skin cancer. Wear a seatbelt, even if you don't want to, because a seatbelt can save your life. There's a reason we have seatbelts. Wear it. I don't want you guys getting hurt, even after sixth grade. Eat your vegetables. I know what you're thinking. I don't like vegetables. I don't care. You eat your vegetables because it's good for your body and for your health. Don't smoke. Smoking is addictive. When you smoke, sometimes you hate it and you don't do it, but sometimes you like it. And sometimes it's so addictive that you just get stuck in a spiral and you can't stop. And it's so much easier just not to start smoking than it is to stop smoking. And it's expensive, and it makes your car stink, and it makes your clothes stink, and it's bad for your lungs, and it's bad for your whole body. Everything about it is bad. So do not smoke. Okay. There's no reason to do that. And don't vape either. Vaping is for losers. Vaping is not safe. Okay. You're growing up in a world right now where vaping is all very new, and people might be vaping and thinking it's much safer than smoking, or it's safe to do. And I guarantee you, in that your lifetime, they will figure out that vaping is actually quite dangerous and bad for you. And it has so much nicotine in it, and it's addictive, and you don't want to get into addictive things. So please just don't do it. And drugs, don't do drugs. If you haven't already been asked to do drugs, you will be asked to do drugs. You will be asked in middle school. You will be asked in your neighborhood. You will be asked in high school. You will be asked in college. You need to have an answer ready. You don't want to be caught off guard where someone says, "Hey, want to do drugs?" And you're like, "Oh, I feel pressured to do drugs." No. In fact, here's a little solution for you. If someone says to do drugs, you just say, "Oh man, I'm allergic. I can't. I'm allergic." What are they going to say? You're not allergic? You could be allergic to raspberries. You could be allergic to tree nuts. You could be allergic to pollen. Just say you're allergic to drugs and don't do them. Don't get caught in a life where you regret something. Don't do drugs. Are you listening? Hugs, not drugs. Right, Rosa? Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Say pugs, not drugs. Don't do drugs. Makes me very angry. And don't drink and drive. You know what? I'm not telling you not to drink, because I know that most adults, when they get of age, they do have a glass of wine or the occasional beverage, or they have a margarita on Cinco de Mayo. Like, I understand that probably in your lifetime you are going to drink. I'm not telling you not to drink, but I am telling you to drink responsibly and think about your actions. Drugs and alcohol impair your brain. They make your brain think things that you wouldn't think if you were otherwise not having drugs or alcohol. It affects how you think, and you make bad decisions. You don't want to make bad decisions. And one of the worst decisions you could ever make is to drink and then get behind the wheel of a car, because now you are drunk and you're driving a weapon. And you cannot undo that 1 second that it takes to hit a minivan full of a family, and you realize for the rest of your life you caused deep, deep injuries of people, or heaven forbid, you killed someone else because you were behind the wheel of a car drunk. Do not do it. You do not drink and drive. You Uber. What's that other one? What's the other one besides the Uber? The Lyft. You call your friends. you call your family, you do not drive, and you do not drive drunk. That is not what you do. Do you understand? All right, enough of that, but seriously, don't do that. All right. Two most important qualities that you can have are honesty and respect. If you are an honest person and you tell the truth to yourself, you tell the truth to your friends, you tell the truth to your family, you tell the truth to everyone that you meet, then you will have a reputation that is respect. You cannot lie and keep a reputation of respect. People don't respect liars, right? If you lie and it becomes a habit, people don't respect that. They're not going to trust you. And in having relationships with people, every relationship is built on trust. Your parents need to be able to trust you. Your teachers need to be able to trust you. Your friends need to be able to trust you. If you're in a relationship someday, it's built on trust. You cannot have a successful relationship with another person without respect and trust. So tell the truth. Be honest. The next thing, don't act violently and don't let others act violently to you. I know that some kids decide to get in a fight and that's how they're going to solve things. They don't like each other, they're having a hard time, and then they fight. I just can't overemphasize how that's not solving the problem. Fighting is not an answer. Violence is not an answer. Just don't act violently to anyone. And you don't hit people. You just don't. Like, think back to kindergarten. The rules that you learned in kindergarten are the rules that you need to have for your real life. You don't hurt people mentally or physically. You don't hurt people. And if you're older and you're in a relationship and someone is hurting you physically, that person doesn't love you. That person can say, "Oh no, I love you. No, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." I'm sorry. People that love people don't hurt them. So do not hurt others and do not let others hurt you. And if you get stuck in a situation where you're in a relationship where someone is harming you, you need to find help. You go find help. You find a teacher. You find a counselor. You find a family member. You go to the fire station. Firemen help everyone. They're helpers. They're just helpers. You go to a church. You find someone and you tell them that you're not safe because you do not deserve to be hurt physically or mentally or any other way. You stay out of bad relationships. They don't love you if they're hurting you. That's just period. It's very exciting with all this advice. Don't ever use bad language in public. This one makes me crazy. Now, I'm not saying don't use bad language, because now that I'm not going to be your teacher anymore, I will admit to you that occasionally I use bad language, like when I stub my toe or I break something that I love, or I'm with my friends and I let something slip. So swearing is part of our culture, and depending on where you are and who you're with, but you don't swear in public. You just don't. And your generation doesn't follow this rule very well. And it makes me so mad when I go to the mall and I see a group of teenagers and they're walking around they're walking all around and they're acting so cool. They're like, F this, F that. You know what? Who else is at the mall? Grandmothers are at the mall. Babies are at the mall. Toddlers are at the mall. You don't swear around grandmothers and babies. That's just not okay. You have to have a line. The line is, if in your mama's basement and you're hanging out with your friends and your video game just like exploded and you don't have anything saved, then you can swear in your mama's basement when something bad happens. But you do not swear in front of grandmothers. You do not swear in front of little kids, because that is not being a good role model. And you're teaching them to do bad things. And old people hate that. Old people hate when you swear in front of them. So don't do it. When your other friends are swearing, just be like, "Dude, take it easy. There's kids here." Just be like, "Take it easy. There's kids here." Right? No one wants to go to a ball game and hear people swearing, or the mall, or you don't just go to Applebee's and swear at your restaurant waitress. Like, you don't do that, right? Swear in your mother's basement. You don't swear in public. Just don't do it. It's just not classy at all. You want to be classy. Don't make a promise that you can't keep. A promise is your word. When you make a promise, people want to believe that you're going to follow through. So if you cannot follow through, then don't make that promise. Okay? When you make a promise, it's serious. A pinky promise is the most serious. You never break a pinky promise. You also don't spread rumors and you don't lie. Lying is for losers. You don't lie. It's easy to do because you want to protect yourself or keep yourself out of trouble, but you don't. You admit when you're wrong. If you did something stupid, you say, I did something stupid, but you don't lie about it. And you don't spread rumors. This is the worst thing that you guys do in middle school and high school is you spread rumors about everyone and you hurt their feelings and you hurt their relationships with their friends. It's just vindictive and ugly and not nice. Like, just be nice. Would you want someone to do it to you? No. Then you don't do it to other people. You just be nice. Just be nice. You don't spread rumors. And it's just, even if it's going to make you friends or make you fit in with the group because you have this information about another person, in your heart, you have to know it's wrong. It's wrong to spread rumors. It's wrong to lie. It's wrong to talk badly about people. You just don't do it because you are hurting someone. You're hurting them and you're hurting yourself by lessening yourself as a person. Just don't do that. All right. Treat people the way you want to be treated, even when they don't do the same. This one might be one of the hardest ones because when someone does something mean to you, your first instinct is that you want to get them back, right? You want revenge. That's it. He did this to me. Now I'm going to do this to him. That's a natural human emotion that you would feel. Being a mature person and being a respectful, kind person means that you feel that, but you don't act on it. It's okay to feel it or think it because sometimes some people will do something to you so badly that you just want to hate them so much and you want them to pay because you're hurt. Well, that's more about you being hurt. And if you hurt someone else, then you're just continuing that hurt. And that's not the kind of world you want to live in. You don't want a world that you're living in that everyone just tries to get even with everyone else. You try to be the bigger person. Some people can't be the bigger person. Maybe they're going through a hard time in their life. Maybe they're having a tough time with someone bullying them, or maybe they are having a hard time with someone at home, or they're just having a terrible time with things in life right now. You don't know what they're going through. So just don't try to get even, right? Just be the bigger person. And being the biggest person, in my experience, is one of the hardest things that you're ever asked to do. Is when you don't want to be the bigger person, and you have to force yourself to be the bigger person. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. And I'm not always good at it. And I try and I try and I try. But please, please, please always try to be the bigger person. Don't try to get even. Take care of your reputation. It's the most valuable thing you have. What people think about you is your reputation. So when people mention your name, what do other people say? That's your reputation. Like when people mention your name, do they say, oh, he's sneaky, or she's a liar, or she spreads rumors, or she steals things, or, she's constantly lying, or she's cheating? What's your reputation? What do you want that to be? And you need to protect it, because when you make bad choices, that's how people start to see you as those choices. And you just want to protect that. You want to be a good person so that when people mention your name, they say, hey, you know what? That kid's awesome. That kid's always been so helpful and so kind, even when I'm having a bad day, or that person's always been honest, or that person's just been nice to me. You want to have a good reputation. And it's hard to have a bad reputation and then make it good. You have to keep a good reputation. Always be fair, but don't expect life to be. I hated this piece of advice. My dad used to tell me, life's not fair, Linda. Linda, life's not always fair. You can't always get your way. And I remember thinking when I was 5 years old or 10 years old or 15 years old, heck, 20 years old, I was always so mad at him when he said, life's not fair. And then I grew up and I realized, dag nabbit, he was right. And he was right because life is not always fair. You can be a good person and try to always do the right thing, and something bad happens to you. And you want to say, why is this happening to me? Life's not fair. And it's just not. And I wish it was. I wish for all of you that life was fair. But I know now that having lived through much of it, I know that it's not. So please try to act in a fair way, but don't expect life to be. You do the best that you have with what you do the best you can with what you have. The next thing is, if you don't understand something, ask. Learn from your mistakes, and it's okay to be wrong. One of the greatest things about a mistake is that you're supposed to learn from it. You're supposed to feel a certain way when you make a mistake. And then the next time you're tempted to make that same mistake, that feeling inside of you says, yeah, no, I don't like that feeling. I'm not going to do this again. Right. So when you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Like you learn from your mistake. It's like that game 20 questions, right? So when you're playing that game 20 questions, you're like, well, is larger than an elephant? Is it smaller than a microwave? Is it an animal? Just think about how many questions you have to ask and get those answers wrong in order to get the right answer. Life is about making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. It's called experience. That's how you get experience. So, education is really important, but experience is also very important. And you get that by making mistakes and learning sometimes the hard way. Um, Take responsibility for your actions. If you did it, admit it and then deal with the consequences. This is something that in our society, everyone's like, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You know what? When you do something and you make a mistake, own up to it. It just shows that you are such it shows that you're such a good person. And then you take the consequences. You don't just try to stay out of trouble by lying to say you didn't do it. Like when you do something wrong, you need to own up to it, man up, and then take the consequences. And even if the consequences you don't enjoy, you're still going to be better for it because you did the right thing. So do the right thing. If you make a mistake, you own up to it. You don't lie about it. You don't blame someone else. Oh, this person did it or that person did it. No, if you did it, you say I did it. You take the consequences because that's what it is to man up. Let's see. Always do the right thing and make smart choices. Don't break laws. Laws are there for a reason. We talked about this in school. Laws are there for safety and order, to keep things orderly and to keep things safe. And we don't always like to follow all of the rules. Like the speed limit is a rule. I don't always go 55, but I certainly don't go 95 because it's completely unsafe and irresponsible to do that. So don't break the rules. You know what the rules are, you need to follow them. And you know what the right thing is to do. When you feel that feeling inside you, that guilt that says, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, it's probably the wrong thing to do, right? All of these other pieces of advice, like when you fall into a situation and you're hanging out with people and they want you to do something, oh, let's go graffiti that building. You know that it's not the right thing to do. So let something inside of you stop that, whether that's your heart that stops you or whether that's your head that stops you. You know what the right thing is. You need to choose the right thing. Always show love to others, no matter who they are. This is not always easy because there's a lot of people. I'm sorry to break this to you if you weren't aware of this. There's a lot of people you're not going to like. There's a lot of people I don't like. There's a lot of people I would like to tell them to their face I don't like. But I don't because inside me, there's something that's stopping me from doing the wrong thing. And to hurt someone else is not a good choice. So I try to show love for others, even people that make me insane. And, we learned a lot about this year about treating all others equally. They may not have the same views as you have. They may not believe in the same things as you believe. They may not look like you. They may not have your same skin color. They may not be your same religion. They may not be from the same country. But you know what? Every single person is a human being. And every single person cries when they're sad. And every single person on this planet wants to be loved and they want to love others. And every single person on this planet wants to belong and feel like they are liked. And every single person wants that. And when you're dealing with a person that you might not like or that might not agree with you or that has very different views from you, you need to remember that they're a person, they're a human being, and they deserve to be treated with respect, even if it's something that you don't agree with. And that's really hard to do. Treat all people as human beings. Try to be respectful, try to be kind to other people. Just be nice. right? Just be nice. That's the whole point. Be nice. It's the right thing to do. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. You just be nice. And the last thing, you're making so much noise. You're so sleepy. I know you're a beautiful girl. The last thing is to love yourself. And I know this one sounds super hokey and you're like, hey, love yourself, love yourself. You know what? It's one of the hardest things to do. You are your worst critic. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you find all the worst in you. You don't always love yourself because you know everything about your choices. You know everything about your thoughts and your actions, and you can't get away from yourself. So it's hard to love yourself. And depending on what you're going through in your life, I wish everyone has a safe and healthy, long life, but there are things that happen to us in our life that breaks us down. And sometimes we don't love ourselves. And we need to remember that we are important and we matter and we have qualities that are so good for us, and they don't need to be like anyone else. We don't need to be like anyone else. Each person is different and each person has their own abilities and their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and that is all okay. So if you go through this world, just try to be an A+ person, and love those around you, but take care of yourself as well. The first person you need to love is you, and sometimes that's super hard to do. I know this for sure. It's one of my problems that I don't always love myself enough. I need to love myself and let it be okay. And I'm very hard on myself, and I know that many of you are hard on yourselves because you're you. You can be your worst critic, and you can also be your best cheerleader. So you need to spend more time cheerleading for yourself than critiquing yourself and breaking yourself down. So I know this was a super long video, and normally it would take me a whole class period to have this discussion, but I really just think it's so important that all of the stuff I taught you in social studies this year matters a lot because it makes you smarter, and that education gives you power. But these are the kinds of things that give you power as a human being. And I just want the best for all of you so much. And these things that I wrote down today that you're going to keep where? Underwear drawer. Just right underneath. Like maybe you have socks on one side, maybe you have underwear, but you will always have an underwear drawer, and this goes in it. So you never lose it, and every year you're going to read it. Okay? All right. It was a pleasure being your teacher this year. I miss you guys so much. I hope I see you next year and that you come and visit. But I want you to know that it was a pleasure being your teacher and spending a part of your life with you. I got to spend a part of your life with you, and that can never be undone. That will always be something that we share and have in common. Okay? All right. Follow my advice, and I hope you have a very long, healthy, happy life.